So you're looking into 9mm ARs and you're not quite sure where to start. Well, understanding all the options available from various forum posts, articles, YouTube videos can be really intimidating and would take anybody days to understand it all. Well, don't worry, because my name is CJ with AT3 Tactical and I did all the work so you don't have to, ruffling through all of the information I could find on the internet, as well as consulting our expert team here at AT3 to build the ultimate AR9 guide. In this first episode, we'll explore why you should consider 9mm ARs as your next build and delve into the unique parts that set it apart from AR-15s. By the end of this series, we're going to end up with a fully built out AR9 of our own, and you'll also be equipped with the knowledge and confidence to enter the world of AR9s. So before we even get started, let's get our terms straight real quick. PCC, or pistol caliber carbine, is an all-encompassing term that you're going to run into a lot, and it's used to describe any type of rifle that shoots a caliber of ammunition that was originally meant to be shot out of a handgun. Now, the term 9mm AR is a term used to describe firearms that use components consisting of either converted AR-15 parts or dedicated AR-9 parts. Lastly, AR9 is a specific term that refers to using an AR-style lower receiver that are designed to be used only with 9mm ammo and magazines. Now that we know what the different terms are and what they actually mean, why should anyone even consider 9mm ARs at all? Well, I think all of us have seen some sort of 9mm PCC in movies or somewhere in the history books. They have been around for a long time, and now they're accessible enough for us to build and have some fun with today. The thing to keep in mind is 9mm ARs are different tools designed for different jobs. Having a dedicated firearm that is purpose-built for certain missions is crucial if you're going to be a well-rounded shooter. The next factor to consider is maneuverability. If you build it right, a 9mm AR can be compact, making it great for grab-and-go situations like home defense. If you go the suppressed route too, something like this can be really quiet. So if you're anything like me and you already own a handgun, then the advantage of this platform is it uses the same type of ammunition as most of your trusty sidearms. 9mm is also a super common ammo type. It's going to be around half the price of traditional rounds you'd shoot out of an AR-15 like 223 or 300 Blackout. When considering ammunition choices, it's important to bear in mind that 9mm rounds are less penetrating compared to 223 rounds. Most 223 rounds are going to be around 50% higher velocity than standard 9mm rounds. The higher muzzle velocity of the 223 Remington round increases its penetrating power, leading to potential over-penetration. Another advantage of 9mm ARs is they're going to be more controllable than a handgun. You're going to be able to get 3 points of contact on a PCC rather than just 2 on a handgun. Extra points of contact are going to be more helpful when controlling recoil, and knowing where your bullets are flying and controlling them safely is crucial. To better understand the 9mm AR platform, let's get into a little bit of the history. The original AR9 was designed by Colt in the 1980s and started out as a converted AR-15 with a conversion block that could fit Colt mags at first, but later a dedicated lower receiver was made for Colt-style magazines exclusively. Nowadays, shooters have the options of picking between Colt, Glock, or even other brands like SIG, depending on if they have the wrong opinion or not. There's also options ranging from straight blowback designs or the next generation of blowback tech called radial delayed or roller delayed blowback, which supposedly helps reduce recoil. Manufacturers have gone further and further with bringing AR9s to the market, and while they still aren't as readily available as standard AR-15 parts and kits, they are a growing market for us 9mm shooters. So now that we know why AR9s exist in the first place, let's talk about what parts are the same and what parts are different. So the parts that are going to be the same are going to be things like your standard lower parts kit, your pistol grip, things like charging handles, the handguard, and also the other accessories and toys that we like lights, lasers, optics, grips, all that type of stuff. We have a bunch of videos covering all of those topics individually, so go ahead and check out the links in the description below. But for our purposes here, let's go ahead and look at the parts that are actually different on an AR9. First and foremost, let's get into the magazine discussion, and this topic is going to generate a lot of disagreement. The question is, do you go with either the OG Colt mags or do you go with the newer Glock mags? Colt mags are durable, but less available, while Glock mags are more common and interchangeable with things like Glock handguns. For us, because of the availability and the fact that I'm a Glock fanboy, I'm gonna go with Glock mags for our build in this series. There's also other lower options that accept SIG mags and conversion mags called endo mags that convert normal P mags into 9mm mags, but we'll save that conversation for our episode all about mags. The upper and lower receiver are going to be a little bit different on a 9mm AR for a couple of reasons. Number one is something called last round bolt hold open. Last round bolt hold open is when you fire your last shot, the little tab on the magazine follower pushes up on the bolt catch on your lower, locking the bolt open, indicating that there is an empty mag and you need to change it out. This is a standard function of your AR-15 and something most shooters are used to. If you want the same function of a last round bolt hold open, you need to select either an upper or a lower receiver that offers that functionality. If last round bolt hold open is a priority for you, then you should probably get a matching receiver set that will help ensure you don't run into any issues. The second reason to get a dedicated AR9 receiver set is fit and finish, which ensures reliability and overall shooting experience. Something that is really going to contribute to that reliability though is choosing the right barrel, so let's get into that next. And just by comparing a 9mm barrel to a 5.56 barrel, we can see that this thing is a bit of a different animal. We can see that there are no locking lugs or feed ramps on a 9mm barrel like there are on the 5.56 barrel. This is because 9mm operate mostly off of something called direct blowback, meaning the force of the round being shot out the barrel is what forces the bolt back, making contact with the buffer and forwards to cycle a new round into battery. This process eliminates the need for a gas block or gas tube, which could be advantageous to you if you don't like messing around with things related to the gas system. There are other systems of blowback out there, such as CMMG with their radial delay system or Maxim with roller delay options meant to reduce recoil. All of these have their ups and downs, but you're going to have more options if you go with the standard blowback system. But you will get better perceived recoil management if you go with some of those other systems. Of course, there are some drawbacks to all of these systems too, but we're going to get more in depth into those drawbacks when we get into our barrel episode. Along with the barrel, that little thing that threads on to the front of the barrel called the muzzle device is going to be unique to 9mm as well. Just because any muzzle device can thread on to the front of a 9mm barrel doesn't mean that it's going to be compatible. Something else you're going to want to pay close attention to as well is making sure you're getting the right kind of BCG, so let's look at that. One of the biggest differences between a standard AR-15 and a 9mm AR is going to be the BCG. So when you're shopping for a BCG, make sure you're getting one designed specifically for 9mm and that it's compatible with either Glock or Colt style mags, depending on which style mags you're going with. Most bolts are going to have fewer parts than a standard 223 BCG and may also include interchangeable weights to help tune the recoil in just the right way, along with the interchangeable weights of the buffer system. But why do you need that extra weight? Well, one thing to remember is that the faster burning powder causes a higher cyclic rate, basically the speed in which an AR can fire another round. Due to this faster burning powder and faster cyclic rate, the bolt needs to be slowed down, meaning it needs to have extra weight. At the same time, most AR9 barrels don't have precise feed ramps, so the only thing that's helping the round into the chamber and keeping it there is the collective weight of the bolt, buffer, and energy of your buffer spring. Now that we have all the differences in parts down, there are going to be things you want to consider that are going to be based on your budget, options, and preferences, and that's going to lead you to fall into 3 different groups. The first one of those groups is converting. To make this simple, if you're someone who already has an AR-15, consider converting it over to a PCC. And if you're someone who doesn't want to worry about compatibility or reliability and doesn't want to do a lot of homework into building your own AR9, then consider buying one off the shelf. And if you're someone who wants to control every aspect of your new range plinker, then come along with us in this series because we're going to show you how to build one just like this from scratch.